in the darkness, picking up exactly where we left off, tapping in to the fountain of youth energy within our natal charts. And as discussed in the previous video, we are speaking about quadrants here, astrological quadrants, okay? And in particular, we're talking about the second house, the first house, and the 12th house. So there's a little background research that I'm going to need everybody to do who's finding this video so that we can take this even further. We need to know who is ruling those houses, meaning what zodiac signs are placed natally in your second house, your first house, and your 12th house. And we also need to identify what planets are residing in our second house, our first house, and our 12th house. And then I realized as I was preparing for this video that I didn't give much of a background on what exactly a quadrant is. So I want to just take a moment to do a brief lesson for those of you who may not have been introduced to this subject before about what a quadrant is when we're speaking astrologically, okay? So, the wheel, the zodiac wheel, is separated into four main angles. And when I say these four angles, you may be familiar with them already. We have the ascendant, which sits over to the east, and that will be located in the first house. Then we have the IC, Amuncoli. I may be pronouncing that incorrectly. IMUMCOELI, which is at the fourth house. It sits at the bottom of the chart, and astrologically, the direction would be north. Then we go over to the west, and we have the descendant, which is the seventh house. Then we navigate to the top of the chart, which is called the midheaven or the MC. This is the 10th house. So for those of you who still take notes in 2022, if you were to break out your notebook and if you were to draw a cross, okay, to the left side of your cross, that's going to be the east side, east. And this is your ascendant, and this is your first house. If you go to the bottom of the cross, that's going to be the north side. This is your IC, and this is the fourth house. If you navigate over to the right point of the cross, this is actually the west side, and this is the descendant, and this is the seventh house. If you go to the top point of that cross, this is going to be the midheaven, the MC. It's the 10th house. Do you understand? These are the angles, and the quadrants are separated within these four points, these 4 angles. And so, what I found interesting about the ancients is that instead of starting their quadrants from those 4 points that I just described, they chose to go one house before. They included one house before. So instead of it being first, second, third house, first quadrant on the east side by the ascendant, they went second, first, 12. And I find that interesting. A lot of astrologers will say the 12th house is the self-undoing. That's the end. That's end game. That's when your spirit is becoming merged with the cosmos. You're going back to the creator. However, the ancients considered the second house, the first house, and the 12th house to be the youth energy. That's the youthful stage of life. How curious is that? I said it once, and I will say it many more times to ensure that this penetrates into your consciousness. If you're wanting to apply astrological concepts for the purpose of improving and expanding upon your consciousness and the quality of life, it is imperative to have a working knowledge and clear understanding. I like to say deep understanding of all the planets, of all the zodiac signs, a working knowledge of all the houses. This is the basics. That's the foundation. If you get those basics down, it's so much access and beyond that opens up to you. We have to get those basics down. Those 4 cardinal points, these are in a lot of astrological texts. I know because I have astrological texts. And I remember when I was first starting off learning about astrology, I bypassed that. I was like, what this got to do with anything? And now I'm starting to see like it's all a piece of the mathematical equation. It's all a piece of the puzzle to putting together who we really are. So I had to do this background lesson just to make sure everybody knew what a quadrant is. I'm going to come back with a part 3, and we're going to get real deep into tapping into our fountains of youth via second house, first house, 12th house, per guidance provided by the ancients. Signing in, out, above, beyond, below, beneath, underground, all around, uptown, downtown, midtown, here, there, anywhere, everywhere, nowhere, past, present, future, now. I'm out.